1,000 subscribers. I mean, I still can't get my head around that. That's unreal. As of about an hour ago, we're close to 1,300, which is just, it's unreal. I can't believe it. And I thank each and every one of you, because without you guys, I don't know if I could keep going. I mean, it's totally worth it to get it out there for you guys. So, big thanks to Robbie over at Whitlock Garage, United by Trucks. You know, he had a big part of this. So, you know, he got me over that hump, and we are rocking and rolling now. So thank you so much. I want to give an update on status of the project. I have just been driving it. Honestly, just trying to put miles on it. Not been doing anything. Went to a car show last weekend in my hometown, which was fun. Didn't win anything, but that's okay. I talked to a ton of people. The truck's starting to get recognized. People seeing it on YouTube, hearing about us on United by Trucks and Whitlock Garage. It's crazy. It's crazy to me that the truck is just known. I mean, in my project, it's crazy. So again, thank you for everybody, for all your support and subscriptions and comments and likes and all that fun stuff. It's been a good ride. But truck, I haven't forgotten about it. It was a year and a half on this part of the build, so I've just been kind of trying to drive it. So I posted up some pictures on Instagram. I have a couple little projects I'm going to do on this. I'm going to put cruise control in it, and I need to put a longer vent line on my fuel tank. So the cruise control, this truck is drive-by-wire, so it's an easy 3-wire hookup. And a couple relays. So I ended up buying a stock, and I'll put a picture up here for it. It's a turn signal stock that has cruise control in it. It looks, factory-ish for this era. Great little piece. I bought it from Summit. I think Rasta makes it for, I want to say Vintage Air, but I'm not 100% sure. But slick unit. So I'm going to work on that coming up here pretty quick. I'll make a video about that because it's kind of involved. I got to pop the steering wheel off, pull the adapter. Put the new turn signal stock in, run the wires, tap into some wires off the TAC module, install a couple relays, and that should be it. So it sounds simple-ish, but we'll see once we get into it. My problem is my OCD kicks in and the wiring's got to be perfect, so it'll probably take a while. The other project I'm going to work on is the fuel tank. So when I originally installed this tank, I had a vent line that ran actually down and out the bottom, and I was getting a horrendous fuel smell. And come to think about it, talking to a couple people, like a light bulb came on that, yeah, you can't do that. That vent line's got to be up above the tank. So I took that line off. So right now all I have is the rollover valve on the top of the Boyd tank is all it is. There's no hose hooked up to it. So I'm still getting a faint fuel smell, and I think it's just from the fuel sloshing around in the tank. Maybe spitting out a little bit here, a little vapor there. So I am going to install, I bought a Tanks Inc. Rollover valve that I'm going to mount high as I possibly can, which there's not a ton of room under there to go high, so I'm going to see what I can figure out underneath there. Unfortunately, got to drop the tank to do that, so this will be the third time the tank's been out since it's been running. But I need to get it up on the lift and do some maintenance on it anyway, change the oil, check the fluids. I need to nut and bolt the whole thing. Because I've been driving it quite a bit, and I've got a little over 500 miles on it, which, you know, it's pretty good considering I only put 1,500 miles on it the first 5 years I owned it. So, yep, so I need to do that. So I'll have some content on that and kind of some how-tos and kind of show how I'm doing that. The cruise control is kind of cool because you can wire it in with the factory stuff, and it's going to look factory. So it's going to be pretty trick. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the truck. Just like I say, just been driving it. I got a couple projects coming up on that. I mean, there's a ton I want to do to it. I want to put air conditioning on it. I got to paint both of the inner fenders on it. Just little tweaks and things that, you know, it never ends. I mean, as all of you know, that it never ends. It's got there's a part of the foam seat that's messed up that I need to fix. And then Robbie goes and puts those cool latches on in his truck. I actually got a buddy down in Springfield who put those on his truck. And, you know, after seeing my buddy do it and then Robbie doing it, I'm like, oh, man, I might have to think about that now. So, but, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm thinking, you know, for the future content for the channel here. So I got a couple projects on this in the immediate future, and then there's a ton of other things that we're going to work on that. But I'm going to actually do a little video series on my dad's 66 Nova here. He doesn't know it yet, but he's going to be in the videos. So this car is pretty cool. It's a 66 Nova Super Sport. It's a true SS car. Started off life as a 6-cylinder with power glide. Now it's got a 327 with a turbo 350. Pretty cool car. As long as I can remember, my dad was talking about getting a 66 or 67 Nova. Since I was a little kid, and he finally bought this one, I don't know, 5 years ago. And he's done a little bit to it, just suspension work on it, but maybe do a little in-depth on this thing here, because it's pretty cool. Do some driving and all that stuff, and he wants to put an LS in it. Wants to put a 5.3 in it, I think. After seeing mine and driving mine, he's sold. So I think we're going to work on that. It needs a wiring harness. The wiring harness is just old and it's been chopped into 47 times, just like mine. So other than that, I mean, this thing's had a full restoration. I'm surprised they didn't put a wiring harness in it, but it's slick. So we'll get into that. And then as far as other projects, I'm actually going to go switch the camera around to the backside here and go show what we're working on back there. All right, wanted to jump in here real quick, and I wanted to give some shout outs to a couple YouTubers that I would consider friends, even though we've actually never met. YouTube is a great community. I mean, it's kind of a tight-knit community, but with a huge reach. It's really strange. It's kind of like the forums on Overdrive, but it's awesome. So got a couple guys. First up being Kansas Truck Guy, and I'll drop the link down below for all these channels. He has got a really cool heavy-duty Chevy truck he's working on right now. He's building it from scratch. Really cool. So go check him out. Also, if you're into gardening, he's got all sorts of stuff on there about gardening. He's got a garden that makes me jealous. I have a garden with my boys, and we love growing stuff that we can eat. You know, every night we're out there picking tomatoes. Well, this time of year it's only tomatoes, but we have green beans, we do potatoes, we do everything. And he's got all sorts of cool ideas. So definitely check him out. Next up, Robert over at Bad Luck Garage. He has got some cool stuff going. And I started watching him way back when he was doing Project Steppenwolf, which was a turbo LS step side square body. And believe it or not, this throttle body right here is off that truck. So pretty cool. It lives on my motor. He's got a lot of how-to, a lot of detailed videos on various aspects of builds. He had that square body, then he had a Corvette, then he had a Nova. Now he's got a third-gen Camaro build. Lots of cool stuff, lots of good content. And honestly, he's one of the guys that kept pushing me to keep going, because there was a couple times during when I was building this thing, I was like, I don't really know if this is worth it. This is a lot of work, not getting any traction, no subscribers, no views. And he kept on me. He pushed me, and it's paid off. So we're kind of finally getting a little bit of traction, and I will say that he had a big part of that. But Bad Luck Garage, check him out. I'll drop a link below. And lastly, but not leastly, can't talk tonight, Mr. Griffin, 23. Anthony and I have actually spoken on the phone, kind of bounced some ideas around. Good guy. Never met him, but I consider myself friends with him. He's got a lot of really cool projects. He's got, the one I particularly like is he's got a 70s Caprice two-door. Big old boat of a car, but that thing is in mint condition. And it looks bone stock like your grandmother would have been driving back in the 70s. Except under the hood, it's got a Pro-Charged LS. Super cool. I love it. Lots of neat things on that. He's got a couple other projects he's working on. I feel like he's got 4 or 5 cars, but really cool stuff. So definitely check him out. He has got a lot of cool stuff. So to add to my project list, I have got this go-kart back here. But sitting in front of that go-kart is actually the axle that came out of my truck. And inside there is the limited slip that is going to Robbie over at United by Trucks. This thing is actually a 7374. I decoded it. It's 7374. That somebody had put in there, probably because it was cheaper to put an axle in than it was to rebuild it. So somebody's notched the spring purchase here, and it fit and it worked and it drove. They told me when I bought it, they said that it had a limited slip in it, but the truck didn't have enough power to spin the tires anyway, so I never knew until I popped the cover off, and sure enough, it does. So that's out of here. I need to pop that apart. I think probably just going to pitch this axle because there's nothing good in it, especially with it all messed up here. Well, cut. I mean, I guess it could be fixed. I don't know. Maybe I'll save it and see if somebody wants it, and maybe give it to somebody because I don't really feel like scrapping it, but anyway, nonetheless, the go-kart. This go-kart was mine when I was a kid. Story behind this go-kart. It was a raffle item at our local grocery store. It was sitting up there by the checkout aisle, and I remember when I was a kid telling my mom, "Mom, I want that go-kart. We need to figure out how to get that go-kart." Well, we didn't win it, and it was gone. A couple weeks later, a buddy of mine, it was like second or third grade, has this go-kart. I'm like, "Oh, man, what the heck? Where'd you get that from?" They said they want it. So I was like, "Oh, cool." So we'd go over there and ride it at his house and whatnot. But turns out they were moving. His dad worked for the railroad, and they were being relocated. So I was like, that's a bummer. So I'm at home one day, and a truck shows up with this thing in the back of it. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Turns out my parents worked a deal with his parents, and it was now mine and my brother's. So we were not nice to it. This was in the late 80s. So we ran this thing into the ground. As you can tell, it's in pretty rough shape. The body's all busted and broken and scratched. It's got a crack here and a crack there. So my plan is to rebuild this thing. Fix all the fiberglass, repaint it. I got a buddy who owns a sign shop, get some new stickers made. Fix the frame. I want to convert it from a single wheel to a solid axle in the back. I got a disc brake set up off of an old four-wheeler, so I'm going to try to put hydraulic disc brakes on the back. The motor, my brother and I, in our infinite wisdom, took the governor off of this thing, so it ran. It was ripping. So it used to shoot flames out that muffler. As you can tell, it's all rusted up. But this thing hasn't run in probably 30 years, so I need to figure out if the motor's still good, take it apart, and see if it's any good. I remember taking it apart once when I was a kid, and I had to put a new head gasket on it because we cooked one. But take it apart, make sure the valves and everything's still good. If not, I can put a Predator engine in it. Those things are pretty cheap. But it's basically fix the frame, re-weld everything, have it probably powder coated or painted, just make it a little more durable. Put a roll bar on it because this thing, I don't know how many times we flipped this thing over, but we somehow made it out alive. But I don't want to, for my kids, I'm going to put a roll bar on it just in case. But yeah, so I'm excited about this one. This one has a lot of nostalgia to it. It's going to be a fun little project. My boys are so excited. They keep seeing it back here and asking about it. When are we going to do that? When are we going to do that? So we're going to do it. So once we kind of get some time between the truck and work and life and everything else, we're going to go ahead and start working on this and get it torn apart, get it redone. It needs a lot of love. It's it's in pretty rough shape, but it's going to be a fun little project. So I'm hoping everybody else is as excited as I am. It's going to be a fun little project. I know it's not automotive, but it's definitely mechanical and it's definitely fun. So it's going to be a fun little build. And we got one more project too. So this really doesn't have anything to do with automotive stuff or technical things or mechanical things, but my wife and I are actually going to build a house. So I grew up with my great-grandfather built houses, my grandfather built houses, my dad built houses, my uncle builds houses now, my cousin builds houses now. One of my best friends from kindergarten is a contractor and does a lot of remodeling stuff. And one of my best friends from high school builds houses in Texas. So I got a huge support system. So when I grew up in town on a postage stamp, basically a postage stamp lot. My wife grew up on a big old farm. So when we got married, we kind of decided that we're going to split the difference and see if we can't find, small acreage. So we found about 2 acres that we're looking at buying and building a house on. So hopefully within the next couple of years, we're going to start building this house. So my plan is, and I hope this doesn't run anybody off, but it's kind of along the same theme as the truck here, is I want to demystify the process. I know that buying a house it's so easy to get the wool pulled over your eyes. And I want to show the process from start to finish. So I've actually drawn up some house plans, and my wife and I kind of been tweaking it and just basically what we want. So we want a ranch, we want this, we want that, this, the other. So I want to build this house. I want to build a shop and kind of show it from literally dirt to finish. Kind of demystify the whole process. There's really, I build conveyors for gold mines for a living. So the process, start to finish, it's very similar. The steps are the same, different product, different outcome. But I just want to show step by step, this is how it goes, this is how it's supposed to be, because some of the builders out there are just slamming this stuff as fast as they can so that they can make their boat payment or their lake house payment or their fancy Escalade payment. So I want to pull the curtains down on that whole thing just to kind of show you how it goes together. I want to use modern technology, build an efficient house, build a cost-effective house, within reason, within a budget. So many of these builders are building premium houses, quote unquote, that are honestly, they're junk. And I know there's probably some builders out there that are going to give me some slack for that. Or not slack, but some grief for that. But the truth of the matter is, I just want to show how it's supposed to be done. Kind of like we did on a truck. There are easy ways to do things. There are hard ways to do things. There's logical ways to do things. So I kind of want to show the logical way, of splitting the easy versus, hard ways. Kind of how it should be done within a cost-effective reason. We're not going to go crazy and buy the best of everything just because, it's the bottom of the page. You honestly can't afford that. So I'm going to show cost-effective energy solutions that make sense for the house. So I'm really excited about it. There's a lot of neat products on the market now that can be incorporated. And I'm fortunate enough that I have a really good group of subcontractors that are friends and family that share my passion towards doing things right. So I'm really excited for it. So I hope that everybody sticks around for that because it's going to be really cool. I'm going to show it from literally the sketch that I have now through architect, through engineer, all the way out to actually building it, detailed, kind of show how it all goes together, how the process is, how you detail out a window frame or a window opening, sill pans, all that, just little details that never, they don't make it into these new houses. These energy efficient houses are so-called, they say, and I'm super pumped, and I don't know, you can probably tell I'm very passionate about doing things right. So I'm really excited for that. So that's coming up here. I mean, that's probably not going to be for a while, but I just kind of wanted to announce that, that is coming. So, basically, I guess a warning that it's coming. So I don't want to catch anybody off guard. I know this is an automotive channel, but I'm going to kind of squeeze in some of this construction as well. So I like to do all aspects of my life. I'm very passionate about cars. I'm very passionate about construction, and that's what I do every day. So really excited about it. But anyway, that's enough of me rambling. I'll get into way more detail on that project as it comes. But for now, we're sticking with trucks, sticking with cars. This one here, and there'll be plenty of content coming. So. Like I said earlier in the video, I do appreciate everybody watching. Appreciate everybody subscribing. Keep it coming. I'm super stoked. Let's see how far we can make this thing go. Like I say, we're close to 1,300. I'd love to get it up to 10,000 or so by the end of the year. I know that's probably way optimistic, but hey, you never know. Crazier things have happened. So anyway, please share away, and please drop a comment below of anything you might want to see done to the truck, done to the Nova, done with the go-kart back there in the back, or even with the house stuff. What would you like to see? I'd love to hear from you guys. I'm just here, to document what I'm passionate about, which is cars and construction and really anything mechanical. And I consider a house mechanical. So anyway, that's enough of me rambling. So until next time, we will see y'all later.